California football is quite the anomaly. The Golden Bears lost to Colorado last year, giving the Buffaloes their only win of the season, but also had one possession losses against elite teams like Washington, USC, Notre Dame, and UCLA. A 4-8 season easily could have been a 9-win season. So, is California way better than that 4-8 record, and will that show in 2023? That's the question that we're asking today, and that's the answer we're going to give you today, right here at the Gridiron Expert. So welcome back, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today as we break down California's schedule and record for this 2023 college football season. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the country, guaranteed money right big in your pocket, big time winning seasons every single year, guaranteed. Do not miss out on that opportunity. Link down in the description below. Don't miss out on our Patreon account as well for exclusive college football content year round. Won't find it anywhere else except on Patreon. Go become a member of our Patreon Wall of Fame. And also check out our mailing address to send us some gear to be represented in every single Gridiron Expert video as we continue to expand our background and also expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. So California, man, it's unfortunate for them. 4-8 last year, 5-1 possession losses to those teams that we just mentioned here at the beginning. Justin Wilcox is absolutely on the hot seat. He has to get Cal to a bowl game this year, or I think he's out. He's entering his seventh year at Berkeley. 30-36 in 7 years. Just 2 bowl games since 2017. They're 10-18 over the course of the last 3 years. They've got to figure something out. It's just not working. Can they turn it around in 2023? Well, you look on the offensive side of the ball, California has never been strong offensively, especially under Justin Wilcox. They were in the past, but not under Justin Wilcox. They have 8 starters back this year, but they've never averaged more than 27.8 points per game in the 6 years prior to 2023. 6 full seasons under Wilcox, they've never even averaged 28 points per game. It's been rough, and you've got to score in the Pac-12. You've got to. Last year, just 29 or 23.9 points per game. They need a major upgrade. They've got a quarterback battle going on. Sam Jackson transferring in from TCU, facing off against Ben Finley from NC State. We're leaning Sam Jackson. He's very strong. He's accurate. He's got great mobility. Feels like a guy that could give this California offense a major boost after some lackluster quarterback play over the last few years. Jaden Ott, though, returns on the offensive side of the ball at running back, 897 yards, 8 touchdowns last year. 4 of their top 5 pass catchers return. Jake Spavital returns as offensive coordinator, coming in as the former head coach at Texas State. This offense for Cal should take a major step forward if the quarterback play sorts itself out. Defensively, Wilcox is a defensive-minded coach, and it's just been up and down entering into year 7. 9 starters are back, though, after giving up 27.8 points per game last year. They only lose 2 of their top tacklers, but they do return their number 1 tackler from last year. Jackson Sermon had 104 tackles in 2022. Should be a lot better across the board, but they've got to fix their secondary after giving up 280 passing yards per game. You take a look at California's schedule, it's a pretty tough one. So is life in the Pac-12 this year. A lot of elite contenders, a lot of good teams. It's going to be tough if you're in the middle of the pack because if you can't pull off a couple upsets against the top dogs, you're going to find yourself probably staying home for the holidays. But California opens the year up at North Texas. Talk about a tricky trap game for the Golden Bears. North Texas, they're hyped. They're getting to host a Power 5 team at home to start the year. And it's their first game as a member of the American Athletic Conference, moving over from the Conference USA. Also should mention they have a new coach in Eric Morris. So new coach, new conference, season opener, Power 5 team. A lot is riding on this game for North Texas. They've got all the momentum and motivation in the world. If California is struggling offensively, they lose this game. But I'm going to give them the win because I actually have faith in Sam Jackson. I have faith in Jake Spavital. I truly believe that he's going to get this job done on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to see a different offense that we really haven't seen under Justin Wilcox. They need this win if they want to go bowling. You lose this, it could get ugly. They beat North Texas, but it's close. Auburn, interesting game. Late night game for the Tigers out in California. The Tigers dealing with a new coach of their own and Hugh Freeze, and quarterback questions of their own as well. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Robbie Ashford? Is it going to be Peyton Thorne transferring in from Michigan State? We're not entirely sure. But what this comes down to for me is Auburn, for me personally, is way too physical, way too big in the trenches to lose to California. Tigers also returned 9 starters on defense. That's going to be key here too. If California's offense isn't living up to the hype, if it's not living up to expectations, Auburn defensively, even though it wasn't great last year, will shut that down. Auburn's weakness defensively last year was stopping the run. Gave up over 170 rushing yards per game. They improved that, or they shut down that California run game, they're going to be just fine. I think it's close, but Auburn gets the win out west. A signature win for Hugh Freeze in his early tenure with the Tigers. So California drops to 1-1, make them 2-1 with a win over Idaho, and let's go ahead and make them 2-2. Not to run through it quickly, but 2-2 with a road loss at Washington. I think some of these kind of speak for themselves and are self-explanatory. Although the Washington game is interesting because California, for some reason, always plays the Huskies close. I mean, 28-21 loss last year, 31-24 loss in 2021, and then pulled off massive upsets over the Huskies in 2018 and 2019. But we just mentioned one key stat line, right? And that's California's secondary. One, they get up 280 passing yards per game. They're facing a Washington offense that averaged 370 passing yards per game last year and returns the majority of their top pass catchers and returns their star quarterback in Michael Penix, who without a doubt is one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country. Last year, the Huskies threw for 374 yards against California. I would expect a similar number this year, especially with the game in Seattle. California just can't hang. 2-2 for the Golden Bears. Round out the month of September at home against Arizona State. And it's weird because I feel like these teams are somewhat similar, somewhat even. But at the same time, California owns a significant advantage in just about every category. So I'm going with Golden Bears here. Wouldn't be shocked to see Arizona State win this game at all. But Cal's got the coaching edge. Justin Wilcox in his 7th year versus a first-time head coach in Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. I do believe that they own the offensive edge California does across the board. More depth, more experience. 9 starters back defensively. Arizona State secondary is phenomenal. Rushing defense pretty bad. This could be a huge, huge day for Jaden Ott. I think he's going to carry the California Golden Bears to a victory on the 30th. And they come out of that first month of the year, guys, at 3-2. So again, a close game against the Sun Devils, a close game against Auburn, a close game against North Texas, but California finds themselves on the right side of more than not. They're 3-2 heading into the month of October, but look at that month of October. My goodness. Oregon State, Utah, USC, and then if you go into that first week of November, at Oregon. I'll tell you right now, I don't think California has enough to win any of those games. So they'll lose their next 4. Oregon State is the only game that is likely to be a victory, or you could argue could be a victory. The Beavers have a lot of high expectations. Their strength right now has been running the ball, and California defensively has shown they can stop the run, especially if those defensive line transfers really start working out and pan out. So that would be huge for Cal. You do that, and you force DJ Uyunglele to win the game through the air, you're getting into a tricky situation here. If California's offense pans out, you've got a much closer game than most would expect. But Oregon State, I think, simply is too much. A team that won 10 games last year. They're a dark horse Pac-12 title contender this year. Experienced coach in Jonathan Smith, DJ Uyunglele, up and down career at Clemson, but plenty of Power 5 starting experience, deep running back core, deep front 7. They're going to be just fine. So I think Oregon State gets that win. I don't think California stands a chance against Utah, a team whose defense is absolutely phenomenal, and the Utes, 26-2 at home over the last 5 years. Utah might lose to someone like an Oregon, USC, Washington type of team at home, but they're not going to lose to California. So Cal drops that game. They get their bye week, and they come out and play their in-state rival, one of them at least, in USC on October 28th. They held their own against the Trojans last year. I'll give them that. Remember, we said they were lost by 1 possession to Washington last year, 1 possession to USC last year, 1 possession to UCLA last year. They held their own against some of the better teams in the conference, just couldn't finish the games. USC was one of them. They only lost 41-35 to Lincoln Riley and this offense. They had 469 yards of offense against USC. Trojans don't play defense. But USC, a little bit better offensively. 515 yards of offense. Cal's defense couldn't stop them. They didn't have an answer for Caleb Williams. And so while it was just a back-and-forth fight, it was the team that had more experience, and it was the team that was just a little bit better offensively. That was USC. Cal gets to host. They're coming off a week of rest. That's huge. I think the game is close for about a half. But who's better offensively? It's USC. Who's better defensively? I don't know if you can make an argument there. USC, in theory, should be better defensively. They never really seem to pan out. But if that Cal secondary hasn't worked itself out, they don't stand a chance against Caleb Williams in that passing attack. California drops that game, and they drop the game on the road at Oregon. They lost 42-24 to the Ducks last year. Played them close for a while before the Ducks pulled away. Now in Eugene, in the most important month of the year, Oregon's going to be in the hunt for a Pac-12 title, maybe even a playoff berth. They're not losing to Cal in Eugene, especially with that passing attack led by Bo Nix. So just like that, Cal sees that promising, somewhat promising 2-2 start, 3-2 start dissipate, and they're now, 3-6? And they've got to find a way to win all 3 of their last games. And luckily, they're all winnable. They really are. They're winnable. Washington State, Stanford, UCLA, unfortunately, only one coming at home. I will say, I do think they beat Washington State on senior day. I think they beat Washington State. They lost them 28-9 last year. But now they're at home. It's senior day. They've got to find a way to snap this losing streak. The sense of urgency is there, and the Cougars are beatable. Why? Why are they beatable? Washington State's offensive line scares me just a little bit, and not in a good way. The Cougars up front are a little bit concerning. If those California defensive line transfers pan out, that defensive line is significantly better, they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be dangerous. They're going to be able to come up there and do a really, really good job of exploiting this Washington State offensive line, creating a little pressure on Cam Ward. If the secondary pans out, they're going to shut down Cam Ward. And we know Washington State can't beat you on the ground. They don't want to, and they really can't. If you force them to do one-dimensional on the ground, they're in trouble. And I think Cal finds a way to do that defensively and gets this win. They beat Washington State. They beat Stanford. Some people think Cal might lose this game, but they've won 3 of the last 4 against the Cardinal, including a 27-20 victory last year. It's a great rivalry game. It's one of the more underrated rivalry games in all of college football. The 117th meeting between these two, the 10th longest standing rivalry in college football, yet we don't really talk about it nearly enough. Stanford guys, they're going to be bad this year. 6 starters coming back total. New coach, 2 quarterbacks battling out that have combined for 31 collegiate pass attempts. It's going to be a rough go-around. Cal should win comfortably there, which means it all comes down to that game at UCLA. Golden Bears have figured it out. They're 1 win away from bowl eligibility. Will Justin Wilcox get them there for just the 3rd time in 7 years? No. No, he will not. They're going to lose to the Bruins. I know they only lost to UCLA 35-28 last year. They even led the Bruins 28-27 in the 4th quarter, but the Bruins are too good. It's also their senior day. They returned 9 starters defensively. I have a lot of faith in Dante Moore. I have a lot of faith in that UCLA running game as well, despite the loss of Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Zach Charbonnet. This UCLA team might take a bit of a step back, but they're going to be just as competitive as they were last year. No doubt about it. At home for the Bruins, that defense may be just as good, if not better, than California's. I think they're going to get the win. It's going to be a lot closer, just about as close as it was last year, because California has nothing to lose. They've got to leave it all out there, but they're going to come up just short, just like they did last year. And with that, the Golden Bears finished 5-7 for the 3rd time in 7 years under Justin Wilcox. 3 years they go 5-7, where you're 1 win away from reaching a bowl game. Last year, 4-8 doesn't show how good California was. 5 losses by 1 possession. It was so close to a breakout year. And that's going to be, I think, the underlying storyline of California's tenure under Justin Wilcox. I think it's going to be, hey, we had the talent. We could have been good, but we could never get over the hump. I think this is going to be the last year for Wilcox with the Golden Bears. 2 bowl appearances in 7 years just isn't cutting it. Time to move on. They're going to come up just short. And the search for a new coach in Berkeley will begin. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. You do not want to miss out on those. Check out our Patreon account, become a member of our Patreon Wall of Fame, and gain access to exclusive college football content year-round. Check out our mailing address. Send us some gear to get some West Coast representation. Let's get some California representation. Cal, Stanford, UCLA, USC. Let's get it up here as we expand our GE Nation from coast to coast. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.